and gentlemen, please welcome the Lynn Blue Band.
It's a little song I wrote because I live out in Montauk. And you know, Montauk's got that reggae vibe. It's an important song for right now. You gotta be true to yourself in these difficult times. You gotta find your center and hang in there. Oh yeah. It's not easy, but it's worth it. You can sit out on the docks. You can skip 100 rocks. You can watch the sunrise, the moon do the same. You're not happy with what you see. Gotta set your own self free. Face your face in the mirror and change. You can swim in the ocean, but first you gotta dive in. Watch the eagles soar and the swallows take away. You can bitch and moan for sure, and then whine and whine some more. Better find yourself a new song to sing. Here we go, boys. In this life, you gotta be true to you, you. In this life, you gotta go deep. Wake up, come on. No walking in your sleep. So take a hike at Shadmore. Catch a wave at ditch. Make every day a more beautiful, beautiful day. It's up to you, my friend, 'cause your story's gonna end. So be happy, don't let nothing get in your way. In this life, you gotta be true to you, you. In this life, you gotta go deep. Wake up, come on. No walking in your sleep. Come on, Dave. In this life, you gotta be true to you, you. In this life, you gotta go deep. Wake up, come on. No walking in your sleep. And when that's underset, don't you have you no regret. Be happy for everything that's past. Make peace with all that be. Go out and hold your family. You got the memories, and they're gonna last. In this life, you gotta be true to you, you. In this life, you gotta go deep. Wake up, come on. No walking in your sleep. In this life, you gotta be true to you, you.
Thank you, Lynn. That was an incredible way to start the evening. What a great song. So welcome to the retreat's first virtual gala and to my living room. How long have we been stuck at home? Too long. Imagine how much worse that would be if you were stuck at home with a violent, abusive person who had a legitimate reason to keep you home and away from friends, family, and help. That's what our clients are experiencing. Home is the most dangerous place for a victim of abuse. We've been getting calls from locked rooms, from sheds. People have been calling multiple times in one day and hanging up, because they just couldn't find a safe time to call. In response to the increase of calls that we've received, we have provided counseling sessions by phone. We've had Zoom meetings, we have a chat platform, and we're video conferencing with the courts to get protective orders. Everyone knows someone who's been impacted by abuse. And during this pandemic, with the incidents rising, it's very likely that someone you know is going to come to you for help. What can you as an individual do? First, thank them. Thank them for telling you it's hard to talk about this stuff. Listen, and don't judge or give advice. Please don't ask for details, because people aren't ready to share or relive those facts. Leaving is never simple. Even though we help them with a safety plan, it's unique in every situation, and it can be very dangerous. It can be the most dangerous time for a survivor. So please don't ask them to just leave or why didn't they leave. What you can do is ask them how you can help, what they want you to do, and tell them about the retreat and its services that are available 24/7 or another agency near them. I'm excited about the great guests that we have tonight. You'll also see a thermometer popping up, and that'll be telling us in real time as the donations come in. So help us get that to the very top with bells and whistles, and then we'll have another party and we'll have Lynn Blue play for us. Our next guest, Joy Behar, has been a supporter and team member of the retreat for over 10 years. Joy's been to the shelter many times and knows our clients. The kids always recognize Joy immediately from her voice. To them, she's that animated character, Eunice from Ice Age. Please welcome Joy.
Hi everyone, it's Joy Behar. And I just want to congratulate my friends at the retreat on their annual All Against Abuse Gala. And I also want to applaud them for adapting to the quarantine guidelines and going virtual this year. This whole virtual thing has been a big adjustment for many of us. Believe it or not, it took me 14 hours just to do my hair for this video. I have been an avid supporter of the retreat for years, and I continue to salute them for the important work they do on behalf of abuse victims and families in crisis. The safe and supportive haven provided by the retreat is needed more than ever. In April of 2020, calls and texts to the Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline increased 17% over the same period last year. Also in April, the World Health Organization reported up to a 60% increase in domestic violence emergency calls by women compared to the same time last year. And overall calls to shelters for battered women have increased sharply, indicating that abuse victims are seeking options other than going to the authorities. So please lend whatever help you can to this essential organization. Volunteer, donate, or participate in the online auction. It's very important. As the retreat says in their mission statement, we can't change what's going on in the world, but we can make a difference. Thank you.
I grew up with a very abusive father. He was an alcoholic and bipolar, which do not make for a good combination. I guess the boiling point for the three of us was Easter Sunday of 2000 when my dad pulled a gun out on my mother and me, and we left. And the first place that we went to was the retreat.
You feel as if you're so foolish and so alone, and nobody could possibly understand, but the retreat did.
They were there for us, like at my mom's most vulnerable moment. We had literally nowhere to go. They brought us back to life.
And it was an immediate sense of some sisterhood, that we could all help each other and that we had all been through the same thing. I mean, the faces were different, but the story was exactly the same. It didn't matter where we were from, what color, what religion, how much money we had. It was the same story for every single one of us.
They helped me to make me more strong. Now I'm realized that without them, maybe I never get out from the violence I live, because my violence is not like physical, but that's more emotional. He always abused me by psychologists and always say, you are not a good mother, you are not a good woman.
I guess it was hard for him to understand that my mom just didn't want to go back to him and be with him. And so I guess that was something that triggered him. And on February 13th, 2011, he broke into our new home with the intent to end my mother's life. I really tried to get him off my mom because he was really trying to hurt her. Like, you know, my younger sister is there. And she was so little at the time, you don't want something that traumatizing for her to see. My older sister, she was just like in complete shock. So it's kind of up to me to like get them to like move or like get them to do things.
I cannot describe how I'm feeling in words. I gave her life once, but she saved my life twice. And always, she's special for me.
And then at the retreat, I felt a lot better, and I felt like I was getting listened to, and I felt like they were actually like trying to help. As much as I hate to like admit that like I needed the help, because it's not easy to admit that, they definitely did, and I'm very glad and fortunate that I had them to turn to.
Having individuals like Hannah and Amirani speak out encourages others to speak out, and also gives others even the confidence to know, I'm not the only one. I'm not alone. And there are services out there. I can use them and nobody will know, and I can change my life.
In 2017, there were about 6,000 to 7,000 people who used our services, and they're all free.
We know our clients and we work with them directly, and so honestly, any help that we can get is very needed. But especially today, in this time, we're at a really crucial moment, and we have a lot of women and children and families that are in need, and so we really need anything that people are willing to give.
I thought, this is in my own backyard, this is where I live, and if I can help in any way, I wanted to do that.
To engage in the work that we do at the retreat, we need resources, and we need committed people who realize the importance of our work. Half of our budget is supported by government grants, and the other half is really from donors, foundations, events, and our thrift store. We couldn't survive unless we really had donations.
Without the help of the retreat, I'd probably not be anywhere near where I am today.
I really don't think that I would be sitting in this seat right now if it weren't for the retreat, because who knows where the two of us would have ended up if it weren't for them.
The retreat saved our lives. I knew that there was a better way. I knew that this wasn't the way it was supposed to be, but I needed the help to make the leap. I would not be alive today if it wasn't for the retreat. I can promise you that. I know that.
Hello again from my living room. It gives me great pleasure to introduce two more champions of the rights of survivors, Mariska Hargitay and Wentworth. Mariska and Allie have been allies of the retreat for more than 10 years. We're really excited to have them here. In 2011, at our All Against Abuse Gala, we proudly presented Mariska with the Hope Award, which is something she's deserved every year since. We're so happy that they're here. They help us amplify the voices of survivors that are all too often silenced. So, as I say, we're pleased that Allie and Mariska are here to show solidarity in our efforts to end the cycle of violence. Please welcome Mariska and Allie.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mariska Hargitay, and for more than 20 years, I've been an advocate for victims of abuse. And like the retreat, I believe in amplifying voices that are too often made silent.
I'm Allie Wentworth, and thank you for joining us tonight for All Against Abuse, a virtual benefit for the retreat. COVID-19 has changed all of our lives, and for many it has brought tragedy, and for the most vulnerable in our community, it has brought a particular kind of devastation. For those living in abusive households, lockdown is their worst nightmare.
The experience of domestic and intimate partner violence can be extremely isolating. Some might even say that these acts cannot exist without isolation, that perpetrators depend on it. That means that isolation is not only a result of abuse, but it's also a condition that fosters it.
Victims are more vulnerable and they have less opportunity to break the silence that so often surrounds these terrible crimes.
And what remains hidden cannot be addressed.
The necessary distancing required with COVID-19 has become another weapon in an abuser's arsenal.
I wish that more survivors knew that they are not alone. That's the most important thing for people to know. You are not alone.
And for more questions, please call the retreat at 631-329-2200 or visit allagainstabuse.org.
Healing from trauma is possible. With support and intervention, there are options. And thanks to the retreat and its commitment to provide critical services for people experiencing violence, there is hope. It's not just a safe space with supportive services, it's the beginning of a life free from violence and free from abuse.
And because we imagine a world without interpersonal violence, the retreat works with local schools providing information about consent and healthy relationships. Starting in grades 3 through 12, and then on college campuses, the retreat is there working to end the cycle of violence.
So tonight, we are asking you to support the retreat so they can continue to provide essential programs at no cost to people reaching out for help.
Support their work, support the retreat. Donate now at allagainstabuse.org or by texting STOP ABUSE to 41444. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So, good evening. I hope you're all feeling engaged and appreciated and moved by our guests tonight. Our mission includes ending the cycle of violence and ending oppression in all abusive relationships in our community by working together to promote respect, justice, and equality. When our clients come to the retreat, having left the abuser, we give them the opportunity to live a life free of violence that's sustainable and normal. I remember a family, 3 little girls and a young mom. She was probably in her 20s, and we went apple picking. It was hard for her to maneuver her walker. Even though she was so young, she had this walker and there were so many apples on the ground. It wasn't easy, but it didn't seem to bother her at all. Everyone was picking apples. Her kids were running around just like normal kids. So even though she had multiple stab wounds to her body, making walking so difficult, she was able to experience the simple joys of a normal life. That's what we do. We help clients return to normalcy and to safety. I have one more story to tell you about a young student, 18 years old. It was a college-bound student who came to the retreat directly from the hospital. Not always who you think would be a survivor. She wouldn't give her paycheck to her mom, who wanted it for drugs, so her brother beat her up. For those who have experienced someone in their family going to college, or if and when you do, it's a family affair. It's something you share with your family. So she wasn't able to do that, but we became her family, and she connected with some of the clients at the shelter. She connected with her counselor. We helped her get what she needed to go to college. We got her transportation there and arranged for her to be with faculty for the holidays. So she remained safe. So the telling of these stories is a way for us to make sure that survivors know they're not alone and that there's help. We provide that help. We're the ones who answer the hotline, who give shelter in the middle of the night, who play with, counsel, and care for the kids. We're also the ones who accompany survivors to court. So please support the people doing the work. That's us. Please donate to the retreat. Our work is not done until we provide a safer future for all our children. So my question tonight for you is, will you help create that safer future? Thank you. As the evening goes along, please check again. really at the end of the evening, you'll be able to see the thermometer and see what your donations have done, so that we'll see how close we are to our goal. And then we're going to celebrate your participation and your generosity. Our next guest is someone who gives us hope through the stories he tells. And that's of women, in his own words, who are heroes because they fight against social and economic inequality. Jaret Martino is an actor and a filmmaker and has worked with the retreat for many years. We're lucky. Please welcome Jaret.
Hello, my name is Jaret Martino, and my mother is a survivor of domestic violence. I wrote, produced, and directed a narrative feature film surrounding my mother Donna's heroic story of survival, titled Donna, Stronger Than Pretty. I've always had such a strong sense as to what my purpose here on earth was. I know I chose my mom, as I've been very connected and protective of her my entire life. I always saw her strength. However, it would take a little time for her to realize her own power and ultimately freedom.
Home should mean that it's a safe haven for yourself and your children. Ours was a broken home. Was he going to hit me? Was he going to be yelling, screaming, being in that situation when the kids were young? I knew that that wasn't supposed to be the way it felt being at home, but that's the way it was.
What would you say to your daughter about what you went through and advice that you would have for her?
Not letting anyone or anything get in her way, and to believe in herself.
Too many people live their lives frozen in the fears of trauma. Shame is all too powerful, and our society uses this as a tool to keep others down. The most important thing is for human beings to feel heard and truly know we're connected. I didn't want to create the stereotypical version and play into the drama of abuse. It was more important for me that this film was created truthfully and honored exactly how my mother went from victim to survivor. It's a film that sheds light on the all too common conditioning of women. My favorite line from the film is, "Women have to be stronger than pretty. You look like a warrior to me." The retreat does invaluable work for family safety and healing. We can all now relate to what fear and isolation can do to a person. Please help support this important work and help bring freedom into people's lives. We can't do this work without you.
I have to know your name.
It's Donna.
Donna, it's never too late to dream. You know what? Sometimes you can be a really ungrateful. Let go of me.
I feel stuck.
What do you mean?
I never know what mood he's gonna be in.
How you gonna raise 3 kids with no job, no money, and no husband? Watch me. Don't stop fighting for your kids. Or for yourself. Women gotta be stronger than pretty. You look like a warrior to me.
This film dedicated to my loving mother, Donna, whose bravery, sacrifice, smile, and heart have shaped the man I am today, was realized to be used as a tool to inspire and empower other families to try to break free of negative conditioning, stereotypes, patterns, and cycles. It honors the strength of women all over the world, and hopefully it will also encourage men to acknowledge and share their emotions with the women and children who love them. May we unite in solidarity and collective spirit to spread love in the face of adversity and to shift to a global consciousness that propels movement towards helping undo thousands of years of damage. It is also dedicated in loving memory to all the beautiful souls who have lost their lives due to domestic violence. Sign up for our mailing list to keep updated on our release date and all the latest. Thank you so much. And happy 25th anniversary to the retreat. The ripple effect of your work is so powerful, and I'm honored to be a part of that.
Wow, what a powerful, meaningful film. Thank you, Jaret and Donna, for sharing your story with us. It's a story of transformation that everybody should see, and I'm blown away by your strength and your courage. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to introduce our next guest, someone who's an author, an activist, and a spokesperson for survivors, Leslie Morgan Steiner. Leslie, take it away.
I'm Leslie Morgan Steiner, and I'm the author of Crazy Love and a TED Talk on why victims of domestic violence stay. And I'm delighted to join you in support of the retreat and All Against Abuse. So many of us think that domestic violence doesn't happen to people like us, but I'm here to tell you that it does. When I was 22, I met and married a Wall Street trader who, within months of our wedding, was holding loaded guns to my head. It took me 4 years to leave him. And when I did, my own father was so ashamed that he wouldn't go to court with me, despite the fact that he was a Harvard-educated lawyer. So I went alone. And fortunately, a domestic violence advocate was there and helped me get a restraining order and gave me advice about how to rebuild my life. So when we give to the retreat, that's what we're doing. We're giving love and support and compassion and understanding to people who need it the most at one of the worst times in their life. And I'm delighted and not ashamed that tonight I proudly say that I'm a victim too, and that I wouldn't be here without an agency like the retreat that helped me when I needed it. Thank you all.
Hi, this is Don Lemon, the anchor of CNN Tonight, of course, on CNN. I am a proud supporter of the retreat and the All Against Abuse Gala. And even more so in this time of COVID, I think it's especially important that we create a space and a place for children and adults to be free from abuse and violence.
The pandemic has affected us all. The lack of freedom, feelings of isolation and frustration, and getting basic supplies is challenging on the best days. For most of us, this situation is temporary. But for people who are living in abusive households, this is their everyday life. The retreat has been helping families affected by violence for more than 3 decades. They offer services for both adults and children, including emergency shelter, counseling, legal support, and violence prevention and education programs for children. All the retreat's programs are free. Please support the work of the retreat, or reach out if you or someone you know needs help. Visit allagainst.abuse.org or text Stop Abuse to 41444. Please join the retreat for All Against Abuse, a virtual gala helping raise funds to provide free services for families on the East End. All Against Abuse is a message of hope because we know with the right help and resources, anyone can break free from abuse. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Kathy Najimy. Thanks for giving me a few minutes of your time. I wanted you to know something. I want you to know that I support survivors of abuse and violence, and that is why I support the retreat, because it provides free, comprehensive services to every person who reaches out for help and healing and hope. During this pandemic, as you know, incidents of abuse have escalated. Please help end the cycle of violence. The retreat is a real lifeline.
Hi everyone, I'm Madam Gandhi, and I am an activist and an artist and a musician, and I support survivors of violence and domestic abuse, and I support the retreat and the All Against Abuse Gala. I believe that the future is female. I believe that our love and our compassion is actually our biggest strength, and may we not let systems of oppression hold us back from being our most authentic and loving selves. So I send you all of my love, all of my support, all of my hugs, all of my kisses, all of my cuddles from downtown LA to the retreat. Love.
Thank you so much, Madam Gandhi. I'm Francesca Odell, and I co-chair the board of the retreat. As many of you know, despite these very difficult times, we are thankful to continue to receive a number of grants and charitable donations from government agencies, family trusts, and large organizations. These are, of course, essential in order to support our unique programs and ensure stability in our funding base. Although this is an uncertain time for not-for-profits to count on reliable funding, we have seen these donors recommit to the retreat in our time of need, and for this, we are very grateful. But historically, the retreat has been blessed by a very strong and consistent individual donor base as well. Many of you who are dialed in virtually tonight have been supporting the retreat for decades, and we owe you our gratitude. Because of your continued support during the pandemic, we've been able to keep our shelter open and deliver so many of the services that you've heard about this evening. And some of you are new donors to whom we owe tremendous thanks as well. During this time of acute need, you've stepped in and supported our community, prioritizing safe assistance to victims of domestic.
Looks like we're having some technical difficulties. We're going to actually introduce Claudia Pilato at the Board of Directors.
Hi, everyone. Along with Francesca, I am co-chair of the board of the retreat, and it's so nice to have all of you here tonight. I actually thought it was a lot of fun getting a little dressed up and taking off my baseball cap for the gala. Irma Bombeck said, "Volunteers are the only human beings on the face of the earth who reflect the nation's compassion, unselfish caring, patience, and just plain loving one another. And most volunteers don't necessarily have the time, they just have the heart." Retreat volunteers not only have heart, but the empathy they need to listen, the commitment to help in whatever way we need them. All nonprofit organizations value their volunteers, but at the retreat, we think ours are extra special. And while they're valued, we don't often have a platform to formally thank them. So this is that moment when we wholeheartedly thank all of our volunteers. Thank you and thank you and thank you. You are part of the fabric of our organization, and just join me in giving them a little heart. Thank you, volunteers. And then there's our staff. As co-chair of the board, I interact with many of our staff frequently. I'm not sure if you realize it, but we have over 60 people on the retreat team. They are working in offices in Hauppauge, Riverhead, and East Hampton. They're counselors, educators, marketers, fundraisers, administrators, directors, shelter workers. It's a long list of critical jobs. During this crazy pandemic, they did not miss a beat. They were flexible and creative and willing to do whatever was necessary to make sure our clients received the attention they needed. And the agency itself moved not just forward, but upward. I want to applaud Kim, Vanessa, and Maria, who pivoted quickly after the pandemic arrived to figure out how to bring all of us together for this event. And I'd be remiss not to mention and thank Loretta Davis, our executive director. Her leadership, dedication, and tireless work are inspiring. I'm not sure that words are powerful enough to convey the thanks that all of us on the board send tonight to the staff of the retreat. You are indeed awesome. Just one more thing. I'm very fond of quotes, and I was doing a little research preparing to talk to all of you, and I came across one which I will end with. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to get better. Indeed, it's not. That was the very wise Dr. Seuss. Thank you for supporting us tonight. You are making it better.
Hello, my name is Dr. Daniel Van Arsdale. I run the Family Medicine Training Program at Stony Brook Southampton Hospital. I want to welcome everyone to the Against All Abuse Gala fundraiser and say how much Stony Brook Southampton Hospital supports the mission of the retreat. Any organization that benefits the health and welfare of the members of our community is something that is worthy and our institution supports wholeheartedly. I hope you will give generously during this difficult time. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Hello everybody, my name is Mike Dowling. I'm the President and CEO of Northwell Health. And I just want to begin by saying a special congratulations to the retreat. It's a splendid organization, doing remarkable work in domestic and sexual violence. The people who work at places like the retreat are special people indeed. Caring, compassionate, dedicated, coming to work every day to make a dramatic change in people's lives. Help families become reunited if possible. Help families be protected and members of families to be protected where possible. I'm very familiar with these kinds of programs, as some of you may know, because for many years, as you know, I worked at the state government. I was the Commissioner of Social Services for the state of New York. Issues like this and programs like this were part of the portfolio of that department. And I do remember back in those days visiting many of the safe houses, many of the shelters, meeting with victims, meeting with families, meeting with organizations, and was continuously dramatically impressed by the people who do this great work. You should feel proud. Each of you should go home at night and feel dramatically good about what it is you do for the good of your community. And for all of the people that support organizations like the Retreat, I want to say to you, keep doing it, because this is a special endeavor, so needed, especially now as we're in the scourge of COVID and obviously the unemployment and the economic disruption that has resulted, which of course, as you all know very, very well, can lead to more issues like domestic violence and sexual abuse. Large, complex issues like this tend to go hand in hand. So I want to say congratulations. I want to say thank you. And you should know that Northwell Health is here to assist and to help and to be a partner in any way that we possibly can. But feel good about what you do. People depend upon you, and those people that you serve need you, and need you now more than ever before. So again, my thanks and my congratulations. Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ellie Curris, and I am the Vice President of the Board of Directors of the Retreat. I'm also the Chair of the Gala Committee for tonight's virtual event, and I'm a former volunteer and used to answer the hotline for the Retreat. The first time I answered a hotline call, the woman on the other end was in a panic. She had she was calling from a police station after somehow squeezing her way past the bars on her apartment window, climbing down the fire escape and making it to safety. Her partner had physically abused her, taken away her phone, and barricaded her in her room. As she told me her story, I was in shock. How can anyone survive this abuse? How can anyone recover from this? We have seen many times at the Retreat that it is possible. The human spirit can recover from anything as long as there is hope. And that is what the Retreat can offer to the families recovering from abuse: hope. Let's show them that tonight by donating generously and raising as much money as we can to help break the cycle of violence. They deserve our support. Now, please raise a glass with me to honor and recognize the survivors of abuse and give them the hope they need. They deserve our help, our respect, and our love. Cheers to all of the survivors. And cheers to all of you for supporting us tonight and helping us on our mission to end the cycle of family violence. Please continue to bid on our auction items through Friday, June 19th at noon Eastern Time. And now we are going to give you about 30 seconds so that you can scroll through Zoom and find your friends. And stay tuned to check the thermometer and find out if we have reached our goal tonight. That's it for us tonight. Thank you so much for coming, and again, good night.